Welcome to Tech Field Day. My name is Tom Hollingsworth, and I'm here to meet one of our newest delegates.
I'm Roy Chua, principal and founder at AvidThink. We are a research and analysis service.
So, Roy, it's great to have you as a Tech Field Day delegate. How'd you get started in IT and this whole thing?
Yeah, I started a long time ago, as many people do, as an engineer. I was actually a network engineer in the sense of network software engineer, not a network engineer, writing code on ATM, I know, don't laugh, right? 53 byte cells were a thing. I thought they were pretty dumb actually, but I was writing code on a Cisco ATM interface processor a long time ago. That's how I got into networking in the first place, and then from there, did software engineering, then did technical marketing engineer, right, as many people do. Then moved on actually to product management over time, but product management of networking and security products. And so from there, started a couple of companies in network and security. No surprise. Again, there's a theme there. And eventually started a new site with a previous co-founder called SDX Central. That was again in networking. Grew a small research group inside that, and which was spun out, and that's what AvidThink is. That's the original SDX Central Research. That's now an independent company, and we do research and analysis in networking and infrastructure technologies.
So you started out kind of doing the hands-on stuff and writing some code, and now you're doing the analysis on the back end to provide data and things like that. I mean, it's an interesting career path. Did you ever think that you wanted to do any kind of research stuff?
No, I think I fell into it. I mean, I would say that historically I've more been around sort of the engineering, product management, product development side of things. I think the path through media, which I never thought I would do, right? It's a weird thing to go through media and then emerge on the other side in the analyst space is kind of weird. And it's kind of fun in the sense that as an analyst, you now get to see a lot of products, wide range of products, from Fortune 500 hyperscalers, to tier 1 service providers, to the latest networking or security companies, some established and some small startups. So that I do like, that diversity across company size, across technology types. I think that's actually pretty cool.
So when I ask some people, what are the big challenges you face in your job role, they're usually like, I have to deal with users and all this other stuff, but you're kind of in a unique space. I mean, what are some of the challenges that you face?
I think, for me, generally speaking, the challenges are keeping up with all that information flow, and it's getting worse. It's kind of horrendous in a sense, right? Which is that the expectation for analysts and me, and the contract analysts that I tend to rely on, we have to keep up at sort of a breakneck pace, right? And one of the things that I'm happy about and yet not happy about is, at first when we first started, we said, what? I'm just going to deal with the newer software-defined virtualized infrastructure, right? Networking and otherwise. And then everything became virtualized and software-defined, and all of a sudden you feel expense, right? So you thought you started in a niche, and all of a sudden everyone's that. And so trying to keep up on a day-to-day basis, and the clients that we work with expect us, or someone that's briefing us expect us to know the latest in their particular field. And when everyone's converging on that field, you have to keep up with, I don't know, how many, 30, 50 companies you're going to track all the time. That's near impossible. And so just the flood of information and expectations that everything all the time is tough.
So do you think in the future that you might be able to narrow it back down? Do you think the market's going to allow you to do that, or is it going to just keep expanding, kind of broadening what you need to do?
So I think the advantage for us, we're not a Gartner and IDC, so we don't have to be comprehensive. So what we've been trying to do is navigate, and as things become more mainstream, we avoid it, and then we just move on to the more niche or more targeted things. And so we look at the latest trends, the sort of the areas where it's more cutting edge and someone smaller and more nimble can cover it. We tend to now gravitate towards those. And then when it becomes mainstream, the Gartners and IDCs and the very established companies can do a really good job of covering it. And we go where there's less coverage, where maybe it's not an established there is no magic quadrant there yet, right? And that's where we tend to add value. I think part of it is because of the domain expertise and the many years of experience, and the other part is just we're more nimble, right? So that's how we do it.
So take your IT hat off for a second.
Yeah.
If you could do any job in the world, what would you do?
If I could do any job in the world, it's kind of a weird thing, right? I've always liked books. I used to like browsing bookshops and bookstores, and when I was growing up, I went to secondhand bookstores, right? And that was a cheap way of reading a lot of books, and the library, right? Both, but libraries don't always have all the books that you want, and so the secondhand bookstore gives you that opportunity at a low cost. It's probably not cool anymore, but it'd be nice to run a small bookshop somewhere, right? And I just like books. I like physical books. I used to over collect books, and my wife would, accuse me of buying a book just because I like the cover, and she would be right. So, I don't have time. I don't always have time to read all the books I bought. I just collect them because I like the topic, I like the cover, I like the design, I like the content. Except I don't have time to read everything. And
well, maybe if you have a bookstore, you'll have a little bit of free time on your hands to do that.
That is the hope. Yeah.
All right. Well, Roy, it's been fascinating to learn a little bit more about what you do and kind of where you started from, and we love that you're part of our community. So thank you for being a delegate.
Well, appreciate it.
And for those of you out there watching this interview, we hope that you learned a little bit more about Roy and that you'll enjoy some of his insightful experience at our Field Day events. And if you're interested in becoming a Tech Field Day delegate, don't forget to head over to our website at techfieldday.com and click on the link to become a delegate. We hope to see you soon, and we hope to see more of Roy in the near future.
Thanks, Tom.